Medicare Advantage, what's the catch? This is a line that I hear quite often, especially this time of year. This is the middle of open enrollment for 2020. We're about halfway through it, and we're going to talk about some of these things that you may be seeing and hearing that are making you scratch your head and say, why am I doing what I'm doing? Hi, this is Bob Vineyard, your Medicare expert with the Georgia Medicare Minute. Let's talk about that. I had a lady call me. She's a longtime client. She called me, I guess, a couple of weeks ago, and she said, I just want to make sure I'm getting the best deal. Well, doesn't everybody want to feel that way? She said, but I saw Joe Namath on TV, and he's saying that I can have a plan with no premium, no copays, and why am I paying for this? Well, apparently Broadway Joe, as some of us know him, anyway, apparently Broadway Joe is no longer selling pantyhose, and now he's selling Medicare Advantage plans for somebody. I find it interesting because after talking to her, I actually looked up the video, the commercial. It's about a 1-minute commercial, and I don't know, 20-30 minutes into it, you see Broadway Joe come on there. And it's interesting because he says, talks about the benefits that you deserve. You're going to like what you hear. I guarantee it. And for those of you who remember the Super Bowl, I don't remember which one it was, one of the early ones where the Jets were playing somebody. And Broadway Joe was shooting his mouth off in front of the press, and he says, I guarantee we will win the Super Bowl. Well, sure enough, they did. So enough about Broadway Joe and the sales pitches that are out there. But people want to know, what's the catch? How can they offer all this stuff for free? Well, the simple thing is, it's not for free. Eventually, you have to pay for something. A lot of the plans out there do not have a premium. And if you want to know, I've got a video on that. How can the Medicare Advantage plans be free? Well, it's because they're not free. There just is no premium. It seems like a matter of semantics, but that's the way Medicare wants it phrased. But at some point, you're going to have to pay something for your benefits. You may get get no charge for an annual physical or a routine office visit to your PCP. You may even have some drugs in there, low cost drug prescriptions that have $0 copay. But it doesn't mean that your benefits are free. Here's what the Medicare Advantage plans do that nobody ever really stops to think of. Whether there's a premium or not, the chickens come home to roost at some point. What they do more often than not, especially in the plans that do not have a premium, first off, the majority of those are HMO. There may be a few PPO plans out there with no premium, but most of the plans are HMO, which means if you want your claim paid, you better play by their rules. Otherwise, you have what I call the Goldie Hawn Private Benjamin moment. She thought she joined the Army with the yachts and the condos, but she got a wake-up call when she found out that, it's not exactly that way. There's a lot of people about Medicare Advantage plans that do the same thing. They get sucked into all the free this and don't pay for this and you don't pay for that, and things like, man, this is great. I don't have to pay for anything. Yes, you do. The way they make you pay is by squeezing the networks down. All of the Medicare Advantage plans are managed care, or as I like to refer to them, mangled care. Most of them are HMO. And again, if you better play by their rules if you want your claim paid. Because if you go out of network and it's not an emergency, they will not pay your claim. It's 100% your baby. So you need to be careful of that. But they do squeeze the network. So even if the doctor that you like is in network this year, doesn't mean that doctor is going to be in network next year. So you have that to contend with, that the networks can and will change from year to year. Also, since they're not changing your premium, especially if you're not paying anything for your Advantage plan, well, where do they squeeze the balloon in order to make this thing profitable? Well, they start by dropping the networks down, squeezing them down, and then they also raise copays and raise deductibles so that you're out of pocket when you do receive health care, other than just routine stuff with your PCP. When you do receive benefits, you're going to be paying more than you were prior to the calendar year, because all the Medicare Advantage plans do run on a calendar year basis. So it's the old pay me now or pay me later type situation. As long as you are healthy and you never go to the doctor except just for minor stuff, you're going to love your plan. But when you actually need to use it, then you find out there are a lot of doctors, there are a lot of hospitals and specialty clinics like Mayo, for example, in Jacksonville and other places. They don't participate in Medicare Advantage plans. So you're going to have limited access to care with a Medicare Advantage plan. The last thing that you need when you're in a medical crisis is to find out, well, you can't just go anywhere. You have to go where the insurance carrier wants you to go. And not only that, even though your doctor says you need this test or you need this procedure, the insurance carrier can step in and say, well, wait a minute, you need to get pre-authorized for that. We want to look and see if that test is something you really need, or maybe you could get by with something less expensive. Or if that procedure is something that is actually best for you, or you could probably get by with something a little bit less. We got a witch doctor over here that's pretty good, and let him shake his beads and do his dance and so forth, and see if that can work. Well, where does all this go? Where it's going is this. A lot of people are confused about Medicare and all of the commercials and all of the things that are coming in the mail and the stuff they see on TV and on the radio and the phone calls, the endless phone calls they get from people, especially if you have a drug plan with a carrier that also markets Medicare Advantage. You can absolutely bet your bottom dollar that you're going to get multiple solicitations from them saying, why are you paying a drug plan premium? You could have it for nothing out of pocket. And that's when they try and twist you into a Medicare Advantage plan. And for a lot of people, once you leave original Medicare and a supplement plan, you won't be able to come back. So if you get over there on the other side and you find out, this isn't this isn't what I thought it was going to be. This doesn't look like Kansas anymore. If you get over there on the other side and you want to come back, there is I don't remember what they call it, a second enrollment period or something, February, March, something like that of the following year, where you can get out of that Medicare Advantage plan and go back to original Medicare. That's not the problem. If you decide to leave the Medicare Advantage plan, unless it's under a trial right situation, if you decide to leave the Medicare Advantage plan, you are going to have to go through, in most cases, you're going to have to go through medical underwriting, which means any Medicare supplement carrier, including the one that you had before that you kissed goodbye, can say, nope, we don't want you. So then it's a win-lose situation. You won because you got away from the network situation, and your health care is determined by you and your doctor, not by some insurance company. But the challenge is that you don't have a cap on your out-of-pocket expenses. So it may end up costing you more to get out of that Medicare Advantage plan and go back to original Medicare if you can't qualify for a supplement plan. I've had this happen with a few people. They call me in March, they call me in February, and they say, wait a minute, I want to go back. Well, you can't. you've got a heart problem or you've got this medical issue and so forth, there's not a carrier around that's going to take you now. I'm sorry, but I wish you the best, and that's the way it is. So, this is Bob Vineyard, your Medicare expert with the Georgia Medicare Minute. You take care and have a great day.